my name is Snide, and what I do on this channel is kind of hard to define, I suppose. I do a lot of sneaker content. I do a lot of markets in China. I do real versus fake stuff. I like to go and explore different places around the country, but this is the first time that I have done a video about why I love living in China. And I know there's lots of videos out there, and I see the same comments under each one. The usual suspects popping up going, oh, you're paid by the CCP, you're a shill, blah, blah, blah. Look, my opinion will never be for sale. No one can pay me enough to change my opinion. I always speak from the heart, and there's a few reasons why I want to make this video. And it's not because I'm being forced to by any means. It's because I feel very privileged and fortunate to live in China, and I've been here now for 12 years, quickly approaching 13 years, which is a heck of a long time to live in a foreign country. And over that time, I've seen many changes for the positive, for sure. And look, I want to get those two things clear. The first one being that I'm making this video of my own volition. I just want to make it. I like making content, and people have asked me about life in China. And secondly, that I'm not here to say that it's like some kind of utopian existence and this is the perfect country. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a perfect country. I think it's all about your mindset and how you react to living in a certain culture. And that could be your home country, it could be living abroad. Wherever you may be, it's about your mindset and the way that you look at the world, right? Now, I chose to come here. It was my decision to come to China. It was my decision to raise children here, to get married here, to stay here for as long as I have, to build my career here in China. All my choice. And I think it's very important to remember that fact. Because over the years here, my goodness me, I've met so many foreigners from all kinds of different countries who complain about the place, moan about the place. Bars. You go to a bar in China, there's always one foreigner there who just doesn't want to be in China, and I want to tell them, just go home, mate. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to be here. Go and do something else. Go find something else. So yeah, I feel genuinely privileged to be in this country. It's a fantastic place to live.
Meet Robert. Originally from the UK, he emigrated to Canada with his family as a child. For the past 30 years, Robert has been living in China and now runs a production business in cosmetics packaging. A couple of days ago, he visited Singapore and we had a lovely walk where he shared what outsiders often misunderstand about China, the hidden reasons behind Western media's bad image of the country, and why the West may never catch up to China.
When did you start noticing that China is changing like drastically?
For me, one of the bigger major changes of China's change was the work people, because back in the old days, the workers in the cities, they would wear suits. So you would have labor workers, ditch digging, but they'll be wearing their suits. And that was like the major difference. You would not see those suits anymore. But everybody used to wear suits, like really ill-fitting suits. Digging the ditches, carrying the garbage, they wear suits. That's why I really remember that.
What year was it?
2004, around there. Yeah.
So that was the start of the rise, economic.
But the real speed of China's change was 2008, after the Olympics.
After the Olympics,
yeah.
When you meet your friends outside of China, like from the US, Europe, like what they don't get about the place, the country?
I would say on an individual level, they're all pretty cool with the Chinese people on an individual level.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely, and they all basically want to come here, and the ones who don't want to come here are fools, because it's a great country, great civilization, fantastic food. The main misconception is they're not robots. You know,
like even people in the West think like Chinese is
I think now with so much anti-Chinese things going on, I think a lot of the Western people think they're all like they're all robot type people.
When you go to the West, what's now weird for you, or something like strange?
I'm a foreigner.
Strange.
I go back to the West now. I'm a foreigner. I'm a foreigner. I'm just like they are. I'm just like the Chinese who go to the West for the first time. I'm really out of my water there. It's difficult for me.
Can you specify why?
I would need to spend 2 or 3 years back in the West before I'm comfortable again. I'm not comfortable in the West anymore. I'm comfortable out in Asia, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, China. I'm comfortable there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't see myself moving back to the West.
No? You don't see?
No. I want to stay out in Asia for the rest of my life, and I want my children to speak fluent, read and write Chinese.
Yeah.
Even if we're not living there in the future. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
With Trump.
Hey guys, it's Bureaus in China, and I refuse to move back to the States. Why, you may ask? It's funny, you're not the first person to ask me. I have been asked by so many people, can you please enlighten me because no one in the States understands why you live in China? Hey, what's so good about China? Why are you there? And so on and so forth. Today, I'm here to clear the air and let everyone know why I'm living in China and not the States. Number one, safety. As a mom, this is the most important thing to me. I would do anything to protect my kids and make sure that they were safe. My hometown is very dangerous. The murder rate is really high. There are thieves everywhere. And I don't feel safe even walking down the street, like even around 9 o'clock at night. It's just kind of terrifying. China is really, really safe. But why is that? Okay, let's think about what do thieves want to steal? Wallets is a big one. In China, no one uses wallets. I don't even carry a bag anymore. Why is that? Everything is done with your phone. You pay with your phone, chat with your phone. Literally, when I go out, all I need to do is just bring this. I have everything I need. The next thing would be bikes. But the thing is here, everyone is riding a share bike. So why would you steal a share bike? That just doesn't make sense. And then anything else really you could think of, people don't do it. But why is that? It's because there are cameras literally everywhere. It's not if someone is going to get caught. It's when are they going to get caught. I feel so safe here. Even walking down the street at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night, I feel like at peace. I have never felt like that anywhere in the world that I've traveled. And for that, I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's so important to me. 2, guns. This might be a little controversial, but I think there are too many crazy people with guns in the States, and it's honestly terrifying. People going to children's schools and shooting them up, people going to movie theaters and shooting them up, and so on. It's just awful. It's terrible. There's really a big problem in the States that we need to address. In China, that's not possible because you can't get your hands on guns. So what might people bring if they want to hurt other people? Maybe like a knife or something. But actually, most places that you go into in China, you have to go underneath a metal detector. So if you do try to bring something sketchy, you're going to get caught and they're going to take it away or they're going to escort you out. 3, drugs. In America, it's very easy to get drugs and even easier to get drugs that are laced. In 2022, an official report said that about 100,000 people died from drug overdoses. I personally have lost friends who are my age from drug overdoses, and it's heartbreaking. In China, they're very strict about drugs. Why are they so strict? It's due to the history and the opium wars that they went through. Their society literally was crumbling from the inside due to the British selling them opium and so on and so forth. We'll have to make another video about opium wars if you guys are interested. But yeah, there's a reason they're so strict. Again, it goes back to my children. I want my children to grow up in a very safe environment where these things are not a possibility. 4, the cost of living. Things are very, very cheap here. Food, transportation, healthcare, you name it. So that means I can save way more money. If you want to know exactly how cheap this place is, check out my other video about what I spend in a day and also what things cost in Beijing. 5, opportunity. You can easily get a job here and make lots of money. You do need a college degree, but with that, your opportunities are just almost unlimited. I have done so many cool and wonderful things here. I've been a green screen actress, I've been a teacher, I've been an editor, and more. Literally around every corner, you find new opportunities. I lost my job in 2022, I believe, and I literally got another job in 2 days. 2 freaking days. How amazing is that? I was panicked and worried for 2 days. That's not that bad. And if I wanted to change jobs when I was in one job, it was very, very easy. I'm in so many groups and I'm connected to so many people. It's very easy to find something else. So if you don't like what you're doing, just switch. My hometown, I struggled to find a job. It was very, very hard. In China, there's no struggle at all. Number 6, convenience. There are stores everywhere, places to eat everywhere. Transportation is super convenient. I could literally walk out of my apartment and walk in any direction, and within about 5 minutes, I could find a store, a place to eat, or a subway station. It is so freaking easy to find things, to get around the city, and to just satisfy whatever needs that you have. My hometown, you would have to drive like 5 to 10 minutes to get to whatever you needed. So yeah, that's, I guess, one of the most fabulous parts about living in a city. And not just that, it's very cheap. When you go to the store, it's cheap. When you go to the pharmacy, it's cheap. When you take the subway, it's cheap. Grab a share bike, it's cheap. So not only is it convenient, but it's affordable, which I already covered in my other point, cost of living. And number 7, travel. It's one of the main reasons that I moved to China in the first place. Living in China means that Asia is literally your backyard. The flights are so cheap going out to places like Vietnam, Thailand, Japan, South Korea, Mongolia, and of course, it's super affordable to fly within China when you're living in China. I have been to so many fabulous places and have made memories for a lifetime. I have seen things that don't even feel real when you're looking at them. It seems like something out of a fantasy book or movie. It's just incredible. And I will keep traveling with my kids now that I have kids, and I'm so excited to share all of the wonderful things I have seen and for us to just explore new places together. Travel is a huge part of me, so this is definitely a major part of why I would live somewhere. In the States, you can travel to lots of places, but it's not that convenient because you really need a car to get everywhere. And while I did own a car in the States, it's nice to have other modes of transportation available, like high-speed trains, for instance. The high-speed trains can get you from one place to another in a blink of an eye, which is so, so cool.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video from the beautiful city of Shenzhen. Today I am in a wonderful park here in Futian district. It's called Xiangmi Park. Today I want to make a different kind of video. In a couple days, it will be my China anniversary. Yes, I've been here already for 8 years. I came here for the first time in 2015. I feel so grateful and so happy when I share my story with other people, let them know how much I love this country, because I do. I truly do. And before somebody start making those kind of comments like, who's paying you to make those videos? You're getting paid to talk all these things you're saying about China. I'm not getting paid for this. Well, basically this is my job because I make videos. I post videos on YouTube and different platforms. You know how's the story with YouTube. Anyway, nobody has to pay me for this, precisely to show you the reason why I make these kind of videos and I always talk and say what I say about China. I decided to make a list of the 8 reasons why I still live in China after 8 years. And I will keep choosing this country to live and spend the rest of my life if I can. Opportunity. China is a huge country that is going through a wonderful, amazing transformation, and I've shown you all this process throughout my videos. Everywhere I go, there's so many things changing, there's so much opportunity, there's so much innovation everywhere you go. I believe China is one of the most innovating countries I've ever been to. Actually, you can notice that everywhere you go, every city has something to offer. I really get impressed because I have a lot of Chinese friends, and for them it's not so hard to find a job. A lot of people come to the big cities like Shenzhen looking for a job, looking for a better quality of life, which is something they can find here. A lot of companies that offer good jobs, good salaries. Also, all around the world, people come to China looking for opportunity, including myself. Originally, I came here working for a hotel as a guest relation manager. Then slowly I started transitioning to video creation, and I found that opportunity here. Well, I don't think if I would be in another place in the world, I will have that chance that I had here in China. So just like I did, many people, I have a lot of friends who have good jobs here, good lifestyle. They have found all these different opportunities in a country like China. China is so big that I don't think one life is enough to go to every single town in this place. If you want a challenge, if you want something different, and at the same time something very positive, just come to China and try for a while to living here. It's going to be wonderful. I can assure you that.
Why are Americans so mad at China? I know why. Now, I get a lot of hate comments on my videos from Americans and some Europeans because I show the truth about China, you know. I show them what China is actually like, and for most of these Americans, it's quite confusing for them because all they know about China is from Western media that paints this negative picture of China and spreads lies upon lies about China. I mean, we all know about BBC's grey filter that they like to use when showing China. They even did it to me when they wrote an article about me. They made the trees grey behind me. Can you even believe that? And then when I called them out on it, they sneakily went back to the article and changed the picture to the original. Anyway, you can check out that full story in this video. So, as I was saying, that's all they know, this negative image of China that's been shown to them every day on Western media. They've never been to China and they don't plan to. So their opinion on China is not going to change. And that's okay, you know. That's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. Nobody cares about your opinion. If you have no experience and are ill-informed, then who cares? You know, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. I've been to America, Europe, the UK. I'm from the UK. I've seen the West with my own eyes. I've seen China with my own eyes too. It's uncomparable. New York subway. It's filthy, dirty, covered with rats, homeless people, criminals. People who push you onto the tracks. No barriers on the platform. China's subway system in Shanghai, Beijing, Guangzhou, Chengdu, Shenzhen, Tianjin, Chongqing are far superior to anything America has, or the UK has, or Europe. And not only in these top-tier cities, but in many other cities throughout China as well, in Wuhan, Hangzhou, Guiyang, Changsha, Harbin, Xi'an, Zhengzhou, Nanjing, Shenyang, Suzhou, Foshan, just to name a few. I mean, how can you argue with that? I'm not making it up. Go and see for yourself. Go and see China with your own eyes. The US just doesn't have a very good public transport, and that's the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that China is better than them. That's all it is, really. It's the same with the homelessness problem. Many cities throughout America are teeming with homeless people. Go to a city in China, big or small, go to rural areas or wherever you want to go. You won't find any, or it will be very, very, very difficult to find any. America's homelessness problem is out of control. They also have homeless war veterans. War veterans. Can you believe that? Can you imagine fighting for your country and then they leave you homeless on the streets? That's what America does to its own citizens who fought for their country. Can you believe that? Safety. In America, in Europe, you can't just walk around at night and feel safe. For example, I recently went back to the UK, and in my own hometown of Sheffield, which is supposedly considered one of the safest cities in the UK, there was a stabbing inside a shopping mall, inside Meadowhall Shopping Centre, the day before I went there. I mean, I don't want to be walking around in a shopping mall with my family and worrying about crime or my own family's safety. I mean, it's worse in America. How many shootings do you hear about in shopping malls? It's insane. Don't even think about anything like that happening in China. Uncomparable. In China, you can walk about on the streets anytime, 8 p.m., 10 p.m., 3 a.m., completely safe if you're a man or a woman. So many foreigners, when they first come to China, that's one of the first things that they notice. Safety in China is just, it's on another level. It's uncomparable to the West. Look, don't get me wrong, China's not perfect, but they're trying to improve themselves every day, learn and work together with countries from around the world in a peaceful manner and building a brighter future together with other countries like the Belt and Road Initiative, for example. What's America doing for the world? Bombs, and oh, there's one more thing. Oh yeah, more bombs. Funding wars, supplying weapons. Meanwhile, their own people are homeless with a crumbling infrastructure. That's America for you. Just look at where America spends most of their money, and then take a look at where China spends most of their money. And there you will find your answer. One country is rising, the other is falling. It's simple, you know, most Americans are mad at China because China is doing better than them. It's hard to take, you know, the truth hurts. Most Americans are jealous of what China has managed to do. That's it, really. It's not all Americans. Some are waking up and seeing the real China and seeing the truth. Look, I don't hate America. I don't hate any country. I love Trump. Bring back Trump. Bring back Trump. He's gonna win, by the way. I don't hate any country. I want the whole world to succeed together. I'm just observing what I see. I'm telling you how it is. Don't shoot the messenger.
What do you think the biggest misconceptions about China, let's say, in the US?
The biggest misconceptions would be that China is a place with no freedom. I think many people have a very hard time understanding what China is really like. The most often question that I get asked is, Cyrus, what's China like? And my standard response is, I'll tell you, but you probably won't believe me. And I'd say that because it's unlike anything that you can imagine. And for example, I'll give you another example here. This summer, I took my wife and my 3 children. We went back to China. We traveled for 2 months throughout China. And it was an amazing time because my daughter's 8. I have twin 5-year-old boys, and it was their first time back in China for a long time. And they just couldn't believe it. And we were sharing videos on Instagram with our friends back in America, and no one could believe, like, this is China? Like, this is what China looks like? The roads are this clean, the cities are this good, the malls are this well, the meals are this great, the food is this fresh, the people are this friendly. I can't imagine that this is what China is like. And for many people, this is a sad thing, is that I think for most Americans, their conception of China is still stuck in 1970. It's still Chairman Mao suits, bicycles, poor country, underdeveloped, communism, no freedom, totalitarian society. This is what the stereotypes about China are. But I said, I lived in China for 10 years. There's not really many freedoms that I didn't have. There's not really a huge difference between the United States and China. You could say maybe gun laws. Okay, in America you have the right, Second Amendment, we have the right to own a gun. I'm not an American that owns a gun. I'm not a big fan of guns. It's not my thing. Meanwhile, I live in China, and you live in a society that has zero gun crime. Zero gun crime, right? You can go out in a major city like Shanghai, 25, 30 million people. Go out at 2 in the morning. Have a nice watch on. Have cash on you. Wear nice clothes. No one's going to bother you. You're not going to get jumped. You're not going to get robbed. You're not going to get shot. There's a lot of amazing things about that. And that's kind of what I try to do. I try to say there's always nuances that you need to understand about China that are very different. And you won't understand that until you physically go there and experience it. But I have yet to meet somebody that has physically gone to China and not come away with a very different perception than what the media is presenting to you on a daily basis. Yes. What I really enjoyed about being in China in the early days is just the curiosity of Chinese people that very much still exists today. Yeah. When you're a foreigner in China, the Chinese are very curious about you. They want to know about your country, where you're from, how is life. They're extremely friendly. I remember my first couple months, I couldn't speak any Chinese. I had zero knowledge of the Chinese language. Yeah. But people, they would see me with, maps again back in the day, no phones. I'd have a map. I'm trying to find my way, and people would come out and talk to me. They'd help me, and they would help me find my hotel. They would help me find a restaurant. And, you know, young children would come up, and their parents would encourage them to, hey, here's a foreigner, speak Chinese or speak English with him. And it was just, I immediately felt very welcome there. I knew that I was a guest in China, but I respected them, I respected the culture, and I just had a very overwhelming curiosity. I wanted to learn everything I could about China, about the culture, the people, and I just really, from day one, I just embraced it. I just thought, wow, this is amazing. I'm literally an American living in China. This is the coolest thing ever. And so I think what's interesting is what we try to do is we try to provide the nuance. You know, some of my most successful videos is me simply walking around China, you know, just showing you. I was in Guangzhou, for example, and I said, I'm here next to the Sacred Heart Cathedral. It's one of the oldest cathedrals in China. Yeah. And incredibly, you know, there's mass held here at this Catholic cathedral 4 times a day in English, Mandarin, Korean, and Cantonese. You know, and a lot of people were like, I just never would even imagine that a church could exist in China. And I said, no, not only does it exist, but you have 4 different languages you can attend mass in, if up to you. So it's just more about providing that context and trying to help you understand. I think there's a fundamental shift happening in China right now, or I should say, not in China, but around the world, where people are changing their perceptions about China. And social media is a big part of that. You know, you've seen earlier this year, in the last 6 months specifically, China has opened up visa-free tourism. So for many Europeans, many in the EU, they're now visa-free to China. Australia, New Zealand, visa-free to China. And as a result, many of these YouTube travel vloggers are coming to China for the first time. And they're showing their experiences. And so we've seen a plethora of new videos hit the YouTube market, all of them being my first 24 hours in China. Not what I expected. And everyone sharing their thoughts. And overwhelming, again, it goes back to that principle that if you actually spend time in China and experience it, it's very different than what you've heard about. Yeah. And so that's my biggest thing is, you know, you cannot hate China unless you have at least given it a try. You have to come and experience it, and I'm sure you'll walk away with a very different opinion and point of view by doing so. I don't believe that China is the greatest threat to the United States. That is something that I'm going to, you know, die on. Like it's a fundamental belief of mine, and it's something that I'm going to continue to preach on. Okay. So when I talk to people, when I speak in conferences around the world, when I speak to, you know, anybody from the side of the street, I mean, I went in a local pharmacy, and there was 2 guys talking about China. Oh, China's taking all our jobs. You know, there's no manufacturing in America anymore because China, you know, China's the problem. And I thought, well, you know, what's interesting is that, you know, what phone do you have? Oh, I have an iPhone. Oh, okay. Well, if we bring that factory back to America, okay, we're going to have to hire Americans for about $50 to $60 an hour because they won't work for less than that in a factory. They don't want to do that job. So are you willing to pay $5,000 to $6,000 for an iPhone? $5,000 to $6,000, that's insane. Well, exactly. That's why we need China, because there's also a fundamental reason why Apple has gone to China is because they're able to produce the best quality phones at the best prices, and they do so because it's China. China's doing that. One last example, I had a mother who said her daughter was 19. She was scared to go to China. I said, you need to go and experiencing it. She was actually part of an orchestra. And so she went and she toured through China. She had so much fun. She said, I'm going to actually move to China and get a job there. She's now in her 2nd year. And she said, Cyrus, because of your email, I had the courage to go to China. I went on an orchestra tour, and now here I am 2 years later, and I'm now living in China, and I'm living my expat dream, all because of an email that you sent back to us. That stuff like that, you know, makes all the work that I do on YouTube worth everything.
China is finally being exposed, and it's pretty exciting. I want to talk about it because it's something I've talked about for a long time, but many people don't believe me. And it kind of feels good to see all this coming out because it's really interesting. So obviously, what I'm talking about is in the last couple of months, many people have been traveling to China. And many of these foreigners that are traveling to China are putting out videos. And the videos they're putting out are about how impressive China is. And so this is something I've been talking about for, you know, last couple of years since I've really started to focus more on kind of these bigger topics around China instead of just traveling. So I've been seeing all these videos come out in the last 4 or 5 months. Basically around springtime is when they really started to pop up in my feed. So I'm obviously on YouTube a lot and I'm watching videos, and because of the content that I watch, I end up getting all these travelers who are coming to China. And many of them are from the UK or from Europe. Many countries in Europe are now able to travel to China visa-free. So this is a policy that was enacted basically at the beginning of the year, where many countries are now getting visa-free access to China. So before, it was kind of a hassle to travel to China. And it still is for many people, obviously, especially Americans. But for many people in Europe, and then also some Asian countries, I think Malaysia and Thailand now have a 15-day visa-free policy. So China's being exposed for being a pretty awesome country. A lot of these travel vloggers or families that, you know, travel and make video or put content out, some on Instagram, some on TikTok, some on YouTube, are coming here, and they're coming to the different cities like Chongqing or Shanghai or Beijing, and they're filming what they see. And what they see is a pretty modern society. You know, you have high-speed trains, you have modern buildings, you have clean streets, you have friendly people, and this is kind of going in the face of everything that they've been told by their local media, whatever, you know, whatever country they're coming from. Most of these are Western countries, so most of them have been putting in their media that China is this terrible country, and that, you know, Chinese people are suffering, and that basically China is about to fall apart at any moment, and it's just a matter of time. What's being exposed is that their media has been lying to them. They come here and they see the public transportation, whether it's the subways or the trains or the buses, or even the shared bikes, things that they don't have in their own country. They see that they can leave their belongings at a cafe and they won't get stolen. They see that there is a general level of civility. It's not beggars and poor people everywhere. And they see that the middle class has grown a lot here in China. You can see that by the cars on the streets. You can see that by the way that people spend money, the bags that they have, the clothing that they have. And it's changing their perspective on China. And you can see it in their videos, because most of them are like, what's going on? Well, this is not what I expected. And many of their titles are, China is not what we expected, and things like that. Obviously a bit clickbaity, but then when you watch the videos, they are genuinely surprised that China is literally that, you know, what I've been saying and what many other people that have lived here for a long time have been saying and showing in our videos is actually true. And this is like, whoa, what? I can't believe this is actually true. I thought those people were lying. And so it's really good, because I think this is a great, I guess, shift and also kind of a media win for China. By allowing foreigners to come here and actually see it with their own eyes, they're showing that, hey, we have built a society, we have built cities, we've built a way of life that is pretty good. And when you're comparing that back to the UK or Canada or the United States or many parts of Europe that are struggling, these people are saying, oh, wow, this is not what I expected. And I've talked to so many foreigners who live here permanently now or long-term, and that's always the same thing. They say, when I first arrived, I did not expect it to be like this. And so for anybody who's hating, for anybody that is saying China is this terrible place, I challenge them to just come here and spend 2 weeks. You know, if you can get that 15-day visa, it's 2 weeks basically, come here for 2 weeks, travel around, go to 2 or 3 different cities, and see for yourself.
I'm in one of these ancient towns called Wuzhen in Zhejiang province, and wow, guys, come on, it is just ridiculously beautiful. It's like you've gone back in time. It really has. It's these little alleyways, amazing architecture, but also it's famous for being a water town. So it's got these little canals all the way through, little intertwining canals, so stunning. And so I'm going to go on a little boat soon. So I need to get a ticket, but I just want to walk around and just show you how beautiful it is. So yeah, the place is actually huge.
and I get lost all the time. I am lost right now. But yeah, look, you've got all these little bridges that you can walk over the canal. Fantastic, isn't it? Really does feel like time has frozen. Let me just show you. So the little alleyways, it doesn't feel like China at all. It's a far cry from the megacities like Shanghai, Beijing, Shenzhen. It's just so stunning. From the footpaths to the architecture. And you've got all these little restaurants and stores. So some of the stores, it makes it seem a little commercial. And in fact, at night time, it's all lit up. So, which is nice, but again, yeah, it feels a bit too commercial, that aspects of it. But this is the perfect time. It's kind of like, I imagine some movies will have been shot here, right? It does feel like that, that you could film some really good movies here. But anyway, yeah, guys, I have just got a ticket for the boat, just about to go on it. And yeah, let's have a look. A whole boat to myself. Look how lucky I am. So cool, isn't it? So it's just so peaceful, so nice. I could stay here all day. And so yeah, that is why I love living in China, because there's just so much to do. There's so many environments, so many sceneries. I mean, you have beautiful mountains, you have tropical climates, you have deserts, you have icy villages which are minus 50 degrees Celsius. It's just crazy. There's just so much to do. I mean, just to explain the scale of China, right? You can go 5 hours from London and you'll be in where? Africa, I think. Go 5 hours from Shanghai, you're still in China. You're in Xinjiang. It's just so big. There's so much to explore. And so, China is really not what you probably think. It's not what I thought before I came to China. Growing up, I used to think it was a really poor country. There were loads of farms. It was really not developed. That was my viewpoint. But then in the news, you hear that the Chinese economy is booming. It is the future of the digital world. So it was kind of contrasting thoughts, and I was like, this isn't adding up. And actually, I started watching vloggers in China around 5 or 6 years ago. And that was when I first realized what China was truly like, because they're recording themselves on, ground level. This is their own experiences. This is their own thoughts. And they were happy. They were very happy being in China. They really enjoyed it. And so you kind of connect with them on an emotional level, right? Because maybe you come from the same country as them, and you can understand their opinions and viewpoints. And see, that's the thing. People have a completely wrong mindset about what China truly is, because all they see in the news is politics. So I went on BBC News this morning and I checked on the China tab. There are 18 articles about China, right? 18 of them are all about politics. And of course, when it's about politics, there's always a negative spin on it. So all of the news that we're getting is about politics, and all of that is going to be negative. So how can we possibly know what China is truly like? I feel a little sense of responsibility to make videos in China, because I was inspired myself from the videos of China, and that was the turning point. So I kind of want to show, foreigners in other countries what China is like from my viewpoint. And I hope, and I really do hope, that will inspire other people watching, and they might want to come. Whether you love China, whether you hate China, whether you don't know anything about China, I hope maybe my videos will tell you more and it encourages you to come here. I really do. I think your minds will change, because it is just, it's just stunning. Like, just look where I am, guys. Come on. Fantastic, isn't it? Beautiful.
It looks fun around here, guys. And when you listen to the media, you shouldn't just take in everything that the media says. You can come here and experience it. I am here right now filming, but then I want to experience this. Let's see what happens and let's see how it goes. You can take a look. I think this is an exhibition center right here. There's so many things they're selling. There's books. There's kids selling stuff. This right here is the real China, and this is how amazing it is every time. Hello. Some jewelry. Hello. They sell jewelry right here. 最便宜的是哪个？这个多少？19。谢谢啊，拜拜。This is the real China, not the China in the media. Just like I was saying, as you can see over there, that's what kids here in China learn. Kids learn how to dance, kids learn tech, how to build robots, and how to do lots of amazing things with the time. I just want to tell you guys that you should keep an open mind in the world when you listen to the media.
It's early morning here in Beijing. I'm in a lovely quiet Hutong area for a walk, so be quiet. But I got asked by friends over the holiday period if I was going to move back to the UK. And that is a difficult question, and it's actually the wrong question to be asking, I think. The question should be, do you want to move back to the UK? And if that was a question that I was being asked, I clearly would state the answer would be no. I wouldn't want to move back to the UK. But no matter what happens, I think I will keep going, keep travelling, and I will stay in this side of the world as long as they will have me. China will always be my benchmark, the place that I point to for reference and to say, look what happens when you refrain from war, invest in your people and in your country, and conduct fruitful relationships with other nations in order to build up the world and not destroy it. And for that reason, for the reason now that I believe I am a much better man for having lived and worked in China and experienced in China, I thank you, China,